Welcome to the Films channel. Today I'd like to talk about a video I uploaded recently on Bono busking on Grafton Street. First of all, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button to stay in touch for future releases. So, recently uploaded a video on Bono busking on Grafton Street. I got a very warm response all around the world from people watching in Brazil, Spain, and Italy, and Naples, and other areas of the world, with a lot of very warm and interesting comments in various different languages. And it was obvious that Bono and U2 have really touched and had a massive influence on a lot of people all over the world who have been really moved by Bono's lyrics and U2's music over the years and have a very deep affection for the band. And many would like to have been there and enjoyed the video for that reason, that they were able to enjoy it at a distance without being able to make it. So in its first week, this video had about 200 comments, and they were probably split 50-50 in terms of people who enjoyed U2 and Bono and were fans, and then on the other side, people with quite a lot of venomous hatred for Bono, it's fair to say. There were a lot of warm responses from all over the world, as I say, Italy, Spain, people in Brazil and South America, but there was one country where a lot of the most venomous responses came from, and that was Ireland itself. So it prompted me to think about why this is the case. I've been a fan of U2 now for a very long time, ever since I was about 8 years of age. My sister brought home a record which had a very deep influence on me even to this day, and that was U2's debut album, Boy. And I was about 8 years of age, about 1981, and it had a profound effect on me. I was a boy at that stage. The lyrics that Bono had were quite deep and insightful. So I've been a lifelong fan of U2, and I've seen the rise and the fall in terms of the support from people in Ireland, and then the first wave of backlash, which came coincidentally or not coincidentally when U2 reached a significant successful milestone. I always remember, particularly when the Joshua Tree came out, there was a sudden coldness that came, inherently very cool to say that you hated U2 if that's the case. So why is this the case? The first reason, I think, is there is a lot of resentment towards success, and particularly in Ireland, we are renowned for begrudging people who make it to the top. It's possibly connected with our colonial angst in a way, the fact that we were ruled for 800 years by Britain. And it's quite often the case, despite this, that we had a common enemy and probably would think would lead us to gel more and unite. Quite often is the case, we turn against each other actually after colonialisation instead of joining together. And that's been seen the case throughout history. Michael Collins was a key figure in liberating Ireland from the British, but there was a massive surge of resentment against him. He dedicated his life really to freeing the country, but was really resented, I think, in the end, and paid the ultimate price in that he was shot in the Civil War. And I think the Civil War is the ultimate example of, quite often, immediately into colonial freedom, countries all over the world tend to fall into civil war where people start fighting themselves instead of the common enemy. I've seen the intensity against Bono rise over the years. The first backlash I remember was probably in the mid-80s, as U2 reached different levels of success milestones. That intensity, that resentment and hatred increased. So what's happening now is nothing new. It's been going on for 20 or 30 years. But what I find is people are shocked these days almost when you refuse to join in the baying mob of people who criticise Bono, and I don't join into that because I have a lot of respect for him. I like Bono for a number of reasons. I suppose he has inspired me. He's a guy from Ballymun, just like Glenn Hansard, who's achieved his dreams, and I'm happy for him, and I want to admire his success and not begrudge it. I remember a philosopher once saying you can't see anything that's not inside you, and I quite agree with that. I think it's a powerful statement. So these people who criticise Bono saying he's greedy and corrupt and everything else, I wonder, is it that it's the greed and corruption in themselves that they're seeing, they're projecting onto this figure that they resent because he's successful? There could be an element to that. What I find with a lot of people who criticise Bono is there's not an awful lot of evidence of much constructive activity that they do themselves even though they point the finger at Bono for not taking action. One of the things that Bono was criticised for is the tax issue. The assumption that's always made is that the people criticising Bono about tax are firstly pure driven snow themselves in terms of tax, driven a lot to the economy themselves, and secondly, that if they were as rich as Bono, contributing the maximum amount voluntarily to the exchequer would be ignoring all the professional advice, accountants and tax consultants who manage the affairs of different companies. Now, every business uses tax management, and I wonder would any of these people who criticise Bono, would they voluntarily pay any more tax themselves? In Ireland, while we point the finger at Bono, we have a keen interest in tax avoidance ourselves, and it's not just about the big guys who we tend to point the finger at. It tends to be thousands of ordinary people who, let's say, a healthy disrespect for the tax man. Bono was self-employed, and probably about another million people in Ireland, and under the Irish tax code, when you're self-employed, you can declare your own income. That can lead to a tendency for people employed people to be modest, let's say, about declaring their total earnings. Creative tax planning in order to minimise the tax that's due. And it's all completely legal. I suspect if you assembled all of those complaining about Bono and his taxes, that Bono has probably contributed more to the exchequer and the Irish economy than all of those critics combined, multiplied by 100. When you consider all of the direct employment that U2 companies have in Ireland, and indirect employment, and the contribution to the economy in terms of the taxes paid by those employees, and also the multipliers in terms of all the services acquired by U2 concerts and U2 records that are produced and sold in Ireland, and the whole U2 machine, which contributes a massive amount to the economy. And that tends to be ignored conveniently by people who point to a single line in it. Also, U2 have done a massive amount to raise Ireland's profile internationally, and it does contribute a significant amount to Irish tourism. There are people who come to Dublin from all the way as far as Brazil, get that slice and atmosphere of U2, which is a massive international brand. But let's face it, it's not really about the tax. The tax is a lightning rod for resentment. I suspect if Bono paid 90% tax rate, that people would find something else to complain about. From day one, Bono has always been a lyricist who dares to talk about making the world a better place. To the cynics, this is viewed on as a bad thing. I suspect always that people want their rock stars to have low standards. Most rock stars, they take drugs and abuse women. There tends to be very little criticism of these. You have the likes of Pete Doherty, who takes plenty of drugs and gives an example to young teenage kids. Amy Winehouse dies in the gutter and lives on to laugh it all off. You rarely see criticism of rock stars like this. He's what we expect of our rock stars. He doesn't go around threatening us with higher standards. But how many teenagers' lives are destroyed by following this guy into drugs? It's not us, right? So who cares? It's a fascinating psychology that many people reserve their resentment, not against those who behave reprehensibly, but against those who behave at best and dare to raise the standard, which, let's face it, probably threatens us a little bit. I find it's a little bit like politicians. People say they dislike corrupt politicians, but they secretly love them. The evidence is in the election results and the secretly of the ballot box. I think if Charles Hawley was alive today, he would almost certainly top the poll. While people complain and rant about politicians, they have a secret admiration for the corrupt politicians and actually give the straight politician a much harder time. While people point to Bono's massive achievements internationally in terms of artistic goals, the amount of records sold, and the amount of charity work he's done and the lives he's changed, sort of international leaders that he's influenced, one of his main achievements in life is that he's married to the same woman nearly 3 decades, raised a very wonderful, balanced family.
Do that. So I had a very strange Irish deal with this, and I recorded your heartbeat. So I had this little portable tape recorder and I recorded your heartbeat. And I was going to make a song up using your heartbeat as the rhythm. And I noticed the heartbeat getting slower. So I called the nurse and I said, look, the heartbeat's getting slower here. You were born on my birthday. Greatest gift I could ever get.
Cosmic twins.
Cosmic twins. But I think there's something, we were born for each other.
His son is foreign and into the family business with Demand and Halo, who are quite impressive and I think can make it in their own right. It's always been very cool in Ireland to hate U2. And as the years have gone by, tendency has increased. The intensity of the hatred and the vitriol has increased. And it's now so cool to hate U2 that people are shocked if you dare to defend Bono in any way whatsoever or declare that you're a fan or admirer. The resentment of his success is so strong that I find it very difficult to understand if you're willing to defend it. I've found him very inspiring over the years. I've been a fan of his music I admire his lyrics. I have nothing to gain by defending him. One of the things that's often neglected over the years is Bono's strength as a songwriter. I can't change the world, but I can change the world in me. It's a very simple lyric, but I think all change starts internally with ourselves and looking at the world in a warmer, kinder, more compassionate, rather through perhaps eyes of vitriol, resentment and anger.
It's not like Christmas at all. I remember when you were here and all the fun we had last year. Christmas, there was a way. Christmas, lights on the tree. Christmas, I wish you were here with me. Christmas.
Thank you everyone for your generosity. Thanks to the Simon community for doing God's work on Christmas. All right. Well, this is very special for us to be part of this. Professor Glenn Hansard here has taught us well. We do what he says. And all of you are doing the same with the silver and the buckets for the Simon community, we presume. Try this is a little tune that's turning into a bigger tune by the minute. You ready? Try that. If I could, I would come to the path is made by you. As you're walking, stop singing and stop talking. Oh, if I could hear myself when I say yeah. I know the rage in you is strong, so write a world where we can belong to each other and sing it like no other.